SAP HANA 1.0 training workshop demo. This is trainer Avin. So let us try to put an agenda today. What are we going to do in today's demo session? So we'll be having a quick introduction about myself, about the trainer for a couple of minutes. And then we will have a look into course content. What are we going to look in this entire HANA training workshop journey? Let us have a look into that. Then let us try to understand few important things, which is what is the use case to have something new technology named SAP HANA? Why do you need SAP HANA? And let us try to construct a proper definition of SAP HANA. So let us try to construct a proper definition of SAP HANA. I am on a desktop version already. Okay. And is that, can I just get a quick ping from everyone, like is my voice clear and you're able to see my screen? Okay, Gaurav says yes. How about remaining people? Alexei, Alok Agarwal, Fernando, Gaurav, Arjinder, Kalpana, Ninu. Basically. So we all understand this is SAP HANA 1.0 and I believe most of you in this table would have done at least a kind of simple Googling, and you might be aware that this HANA stands for High Performance Analytical Appliance. That's what we all know, and there are many definitions across the table, across the globe, but let us try to construct a proper one during the end of the session as committed. Okay, so for now let us stick to this. HANA is High Performance Analytical Appliance, and the latest version is HANA 1.0 Support Pack, which is SP9. And the one which we are going to look in our curriculum as well, SP9. Which is the latest version. Okay, so let us go to the next one, which is a quick introduction about myself. So this is Avin, and I got around 12 plus years of experience in data warehousing and business intelligence projects. I'm an SAP Business Objects Architect and Senior SAP HANA Implementation Consultant. I live in Singapore and I've been into 7 end-to-end implementation projects, and I've been into 2 support projects and 2 migration projects. And this is my current role. As a part of my role in my organization, I used to travel around the globe to various places to train the business users who are casual end users and also power users or BI experts. In addition, I also train my junior team members on the technologies where I am SME on, which is basically SAP HANA and SAP Bootcamp. And I really enjoy sharing my expertise knowledge, whatever I have gathered till now, to the entire globe. Till now, I've been given training to maybe around 100 plus online participants, whereby the success rate of certification for them almost is 100%. Like till now, I've never got anyone coming back to me and saying that they didn't pass the certification. Of course, their rates are like the marks what they get is more than 85% in the examination. And that's what it's all about. And let us quickly go to this. Somebody can also have a question on mind. Why should this, just a second, let me, okay, perfect now, it looks better. No. Yeah. So somebody can have in mind like why this particular waterfall chart is something there which is being given in the slide. The only objective of keeping this waterfall diagram of my career is basically to let you all aware that this module is constructed, designed in a way that we will be looking from all these perspectives. Of course, not from the trainer perspective, not from the architect perspective, because that too is totally a different lines. But as a developer, as a senior developer from that angles, we will try to understand each and every concept that we would be doing on the job roles, but not just understanding the concept, but understanding from a flavor of why we need to do that, what's the best way of doing that, and what kind of impact analysis we would be having over there. From the system analyst point of view, what we would be trying to look into this particular training curriculum is, it's not just the front-end one that we try to see, but in addition to that, what we also try to look is even from the back end. We also try to understand the different kinds of modeling techniques that are available. We also try to understand simple database SQLs, which are all required to perform our day-to-day roles. Of course, nothing from the migration and support lead perspective. And the most important thing is, as I told you, because that is where I am as well, whatever we do, we just try to understand why we need to do this way and why that is there basically, and what's the kind of impact analysis if we do it in a different kind of techniques. So this particular course has been designed in such a way that we look our concepts in all these angles supported by real-time scenarios. That's it about myself. So let us erase all the diagrams on this, and let us go to the second part of this, the actual part of this agenda is, let us quickly go through the course content. What are we going to learn in our training module? We will be starting with overview of SAP HANA 1.0. So whatever points you see here will help us to understand why do we really need something new like SAP HANA 1.0? Why the already existing technologies was not enough to do or to solve, to address the business cases. So we'll be trying to understand in that concept in Unit 1. Then there are some important concepts which we also need to understand, which is column storage and row storage. And finally, we will also understand in Chapter 1 some customer feedback and what are all the benefits. It's a real feedback from the customers, what they feel in implementing SAP HANA into their organization. So this might be useful for someone if at all you want to go for a pre-sales kind of role. It might be useful to speak with the clients. Chapter number 2, we will be speaking about PAM, which is Product Availability Matrix. So here we will be looking into what are all the supported hardware vendors, what platforms we can have. And it is not that like any other technology, you can just go and buy any hardware. There are some certain certified hardware vendors with whom you can make a tie-up and you can get the hardware appliance for SAP HANA. We will also understand in this scale-up and scale-out architectures. And then Chapter 2, Chapter 4, Chapter 5 are a little bit interrelated. So there we will understand the PAM, then we will understand scale up and scale out architecture. We will understand sizing. What are all the factors that you need to keep in mind in doing your sizing? System landscapes, high availability, disaster recovery are the important concepts that we will look into 2, 4, and 5, which I would always say they are a little bit interrelated. Chapter 3, which is architecture, doing a deep dive into the SAP HANA itself. Looking into the detailed view of architecture of SAP HANA, looking it from different other angles, and understanding a very important concept of SAP HANA, which is persistence layer. At this point in time, we might not understand what is this, but later when we try to construct the definition of SAP HANA, then we will understand what is persistence layer. That is what we will be looking in introduction section, the first step of our staircase, the introduction. From there we will be progressing to the next step, which is data provisioning. In layman language, how do you bring data into SAP HANA? How do you bring data into SAP HANA? So for now, what you can all think is, SAP HANA is an in-memory database for now. It is not complete, but just for now, what all you can think is, you can think SAP HANA is an in-memory database. If somebody is not clear what is database, a database is a logical connection of all the objects which contains the data, basically. A database contains data. Let us put it in a very simple language. Let us not go into a very technical. A database, what it contains data. Simple. And SAP HANA is in-memory database, and it is not complete definition, but for now, just for now to understand. Okay, SAP HANA is much more than that, but for now just to understand the basic of SAP HANA. If you go to the lowest layer, SAP HANA is a database, and it is in-memory database, means the entire database is kept in your main memory, which is random access memory. Okay, so that things we will see after 30 minutes, but for now let us just see that this is an in-memory database. Okay, so now this is a box, that is an SAP HANA box. So you got SAP HANA implemented in your organization for whatever business cases later, which we will try to understand. But after that, the next question is, how do you bring data into SAP HANA, right? So how do you bring data into SAP HANA? Data provisioning. How do you bring data into SAP HANA? So even before thinking about that, what are all your company's data sources? So you have SAP HANA. So what are all your company's data sources? So you might have, the first thing is, you might have your company's corporate database. You might also have some other flat files, for example, that has been used. Oops, sorry for that. So you got, what is this, where is that? Yeah. You got some flat files from where you would like to take the data from the existing flat files. Just to add a little bit more spice, you might also take, why this is coming always. So you might also try to take some data from some other stuffs, like say you got some web logs. You would need to analyze some information like this. And most importantly, the entire globe where it is going is some unstructured data. For example, your big data. Again, to give more clarity on that, say emails, say you got audio files, you got video files, you got some sensors data, you want to just look at what your customer feels on Twitter feeds, Twitter tweets, Facebook likes, so on and so forth, right? So you got all this kind of data for your company, and you would like to take all this data into SAP HANA. So this is your layer 1, which is your data source layer. Let me know if my speed is too fast or if I'm too slow. You can stop me at any point in time. You can put your question on the chat window, and I think I'm an organizer, so you can also raise up your hand. I can unmute yourself if you have any question. So if you got any question, you can even raise your hand so that I can unmute yourself. Okay. So this is going to be your layer 1, which is your data source layer from which you would like to take all the data into SAP HANA. Perfectly fine. But how do you bring all this data into SAP HANA? Which is data provisioning, which is your layer 2. Which is your layer 2, data provisioning. And you got so many tools that are available within SAP umbrella. You got SLT, SAP Landscape Transformation. You got BODS, Business Objects Data Services. These two are authorized, and of course they are within SAP umbrella already, which can be used to provision, to extract and load the data into SAP HANA. Each has its own pros and cons. Each tool has its own use cases. We will try to understand it very clearly when we get into the codes. You also got one more thing, DXC, to extract the business content of SAP front-end sources. But what is extremely new from SP9, that is the latest version, is you got something SDI plus SDQ. Smart data integration and smart data quality, which you can also call it as an EIM. This enterprise information management tools capabilities was available in BODS, but for that you need to use BODS. But now from SP9, the first base version of BODS functionalities, the first base version of EIM functionalities is brought within SAP HANA. That's where the vision of SAP on HANA is altogether. Okay, so we will look into that, how to load data into SAP HANA from flat files using data services. SLT, we will look into that. We will understand DXC. We will also look into SDA, Smart Data Access. You also add this concept Smart Data Access that was introduced in SP6. But this can only load data, that's it. But this can extract the data, apply business rules, and then load the data. Can you just identify the difference? SDA, Smart Data Access can connect to any data sources and simply load the data into SAP HANA. But SDI plus SDQ can connect to external sources, can load the data, apply business rules or transformations, and then finally load it to SAP HANA. Okay, so we'll look into that, and we will also have a quick look into EIM. So now that is going to be your layer 2. So now once all this is done, your next layer is going to be within the SAP HANA box itself. So what can you do within SAP HANA? Now you got all the data. So the most important thing that you will be doing is modeling. Modeling is what? The most important activity that happens within SAP HANA. Modeling is creating models. Okay. Another activity that can happen is creating web applications, possible. That can be done from SP5 version. Then if you want to do your business and if you want to do all your analytics, possible. You got embedded statistical algorithms within SAP HANA to do all your analytics. Business analytics, predictive analytics, text analytics, graph analytics, You got a specific graph engine support from SP9 version to do detailed graph analytics. Right? So all this is possible. Of course, administration, all this. So you got all your data within SAP HANA. Now within SAP HANA, what all you can do, it is a database. Of course, you can have all the database functionalities. All database functionalities are there on the bottom line. On the bottom line, you've got all the database functionalities, and in addition to that, you can create models on this physical data for your OLAP analytics. You can create web applications, and you've got fantastic built-in algorithms, statistical algorithms to do all this analytics. That's all what you can do within SAP HANA. Now, what will be the final layer? So before going to that, so that's what we will understand here. We will have a look into SAP HANA Studio. SAP HANA Studio sorry, is the desktop tool. It's a client tool, which is you will be, when you enter into any project, you would need to install this SAP HANA Studio setup file on your computer in your project. And this is the only tool that allows anyone to interact with the HANA system itself. So SAP HANA Studio, let it be, you can be an administrator, you can be a modeler, you can be a developer, you can be a tester, you can be a business analyst, whomsoever you are. If you would need to interact with SAP HANA system, the only tool that allows you to do that is SAP HANA Studio. Why a separate chapter? We will be having a detailed look and feel of SAP HANA Studio. Having said that, from SP8 version, SAP is now having a vision to also create a similar web-based version. As I told you, SAP HANA Studio is a desktop-based tool. That is, you need to install that on your computer. If I say web-based, if you have Internet Explorer, if you have a link, you can just open the tool and you can use it. That is web-based. But SAP HANA Studio is a desktop-based. But where SAP is ending up is they would also like to add a web-based version of similar kind. So they have started their first step in SP8. They have launched this web-based IDE workbench. So in SP8, you can't do anything much apart from it. Just you can just only do little bit things of SDA in that workbench. But in SP9, web-based IDE workbench, you can build one of the important modeling view. You can build one of the important modeling view, which is calculation view, in web-based version IDE workbench. However, a lot to go on that web-based IDE, a lot to be matured on that, but that is on a different story. But sitting on today, this is still the one that is used, and moving down the line also, because that is one that allows you to do administration, monitoring, everything. So this is very important. And after that, we come to the core subject of our entire training, where I believe all the people on this table will be doing their day-to-day responsibilities on the job. As a modeler, that's a typo, as a modeler, this is what you will be doing on your day-to-day roles. So as actually we will try to understand data warehouse concepts and data modeling techniques to give you a strong background. And then we will move in creating the modeling views, attribute views, analytical views, calculation views. We will also understand doing decision tables, analytical privileges. And then finally we will be looking into a modeling approach. And then in chapter 8, section 7 and 8, this too is basically for someone who are totally new to IT itself. who doesn't understand anything about SQL. So we would start from scratch. We will be giving an highlight on that as well. And we will be looking into CE functions, calculation engine functions as well. Once that is done, we will look into transportation. How do you transport? How do you promote your deliverables from development to quality or quality to production? So whatever landscapes in your organization, how do you transport from one to another system? We will look into that. And basically, we got a kind of, basically what I do is we got a kind of approach, which is play, practice, assignment. This is a kind of three-step process that we do. So in practice, basically I would be taking you through all the concepts using the best practices. But it doesn't mean that always only the best practice can work. If you do not have a solution, sometimes you need to go for a workaround. Maybe it might not be a best practice, but you don't have an alternative solution. So in play, though it might not be a better practice, but we will just try to explore all the options. And in assignment, I'll be giving you a model where you would need to work on. So before even going to the next topic, let us quickly look into what kind of models we will be working on. We will be working on SAP model. The first model that we will be working is on SAP front-end model, SAP front-end source model. To be still specific, we will be looking into COPA, cost profitability analysis model. Why this model? Because you got certification materials, which is HA100 and HA300. These two are the certification materials provided by SAP. And they use this example. Hence, to make it a real one-to-one mapping, we do this in our session as well. In addition to this model, you will be also working on a cycle company data warehouse model. So here I'll be giving you the model diagram and I will be giving you the instructions how to do about it. So this is a kind of assignment, I would say. This is a kind of assignment and this is a kind of practice. And the model diagrams of two businesses will be given to you. They do business on the online business and they also sell their cycles on the retail shops. So you got two different kinds of business and you got two different kinds of models which will be given to you. Where you would need to basically build the similar kind of information models as we do it here. And finally, you also have an end-to-end case study. And this is based on an airline database model. And again, this is something that's not which I have developed, or this is something not which has been developed by someone specifically, which I'm speaking about point 3. Point 3 is something which is not something specifically designed by someone else, but it is provided by SAP itself. So you also have a step-by-step solutions for that, but I don't recommend any of my participant to look into the solutions when they do case study, because by that time they should be already close to SMEs, subject matter experts. So that will be having the exercises. If at all you're stuck up with exercises, they also provide all the solutions towards the end of their PDF. But I don't recommend looking into solutions because by the time you should be able to do everything. So this is what you'll be working on. So let's go back. That's speaking about the models. And finally, end of the day, why do we do all these things? Is to present the data to the customer. Analyze the data of your company. Make better decisions. End of the day, in a single line, the final layer is going to be reporting. The final layer is going to be reporting. Okay, so you got SAP does not really restrict anyone to say that you should use only this reporting tool or you should only use that reporting tool. You can use any reporting tool with SAP HANA. You can use even Microsoft Excel as a reporting tool on top of SAP HANA. You can use ClickView, you can use Cognos, you can use any reporting tool that is available. But most of the, I couldn't comment on that, but many places, right? So we use BobJ because the reason is business objects is again within the same umbrella of SAP. But again, having said that, it is not a rule that you should always use that. You can use any reporting tools in your organization, depending upon whatever tools you have and whatever business cases you have and whatever you're licensed to and whatever your budget is. Depending upon that and whatever your pressing business cases. Okay, so based on that, your reporting tool would be, but because BobJ comes within SAP umbrella, we would look into BobJ, all these reporting tools, but let us be clear, this is not a reporting training session, but we will be looking into all these tools from the connectivity perspective. We would try to connect to all of these tools. I will be giving you some 1-hour lecture, which is very, very, very important in understanding the use cases of all these tools, when to use when, and then I'll be helping you to understand how to connect all these reporting tools to SAP HANA. That's what I say, but usually we also build certain things on the session as well. That is an additional bonus that we do sometimes. Okay, and once that is done, we will look into all the miscellaneous topics: user management, monitoring, administration, security, which is important. We look into security, distributed system landscape, sole man role, SAP BW on HANA, and finally certification questions and answers. Most important thing in addition to this, the way this will be designed is, often you will be given quiz. Once we complete a topic, I'll be also posting you quiz, and I would expect you to have the quiz answers ready with yourself. I would not be asking you to post it here or there. You can just have it. That is just a self-evaluation. So I would just ask you to have the answers by yourself. In any one of the next coming sessions, I'll be going through the answers with an explanation why that should be more close. Okay. Next thing is you'll be getting also complete set of best practices that is followed in SAP HANA implementation project. You'll be getting complete set of from the naming conventions, from the database design, moving towards models, modeling approaches, securities, all these topics. In all these topics, you'll be getting all the best practices. You will be getting a very detailed IQ question set. You will be getting a very, very detailed, I believe that contains already around 250 plus IQ questions with answers. And which, this point I always tell to my participants when I also take the session, at every point in time, I also make sure I highlight that that is a possible interview question or that is a possible certification question. I would also do that, but in addition to that, you will be also given this detailed IQ with answers. Finally, during the last session of the training module, you have an exclusive session on certification preparation. Certification preparation. Okay, so we would be, this is a place where many people really look for more information. So what certification code you have to apply, how to apply, where to apply, what all the steps I need to be sure before I go for a certification, What all I need to go through is what will be shared with you. And we will be also sharing with you this one, a bunch of sample Q&A, sample Q&A in the same pattern as it appears in certification. Though what participants tell us, most of the questions that are available here is what even being asked today, but please underline the statement. I never encourage any of my participants, even 1%, to believe that. This is just given to give you an idea. It should contain 80 questions with the same way as it has been asked in certification. Though people say it's a kind of dump questions, I don't trust that, and I don't want anyone to trust that as well. But that has been just given to you to give you an idea how it would be. Okay, so that will be given with including the answers. And again, I don't want anyone to just go through that one document alone and go and appear for certification. And if that happens, I am not responsible. Okay, so there is a religious way, systematic way of certification preparation, which I'll be taking you through during the end of the training module, which is a last session, what you would need to do to make sure before appearing certification. So people have followed that, and most of my participants have cleared the certification with a score of more than 85 to 90%. With a score of 85 to 90%. Okay. So that is what on the second point of our agenda, which is course content. Let me try to put a small pause here. Let me just open this table for Q&A for the next 2 minutes. If you have any questions before moving to the next topic, you can raise up your hand in this GoToMeeting so that I can unmute you. You can ask your question. If by whatever chance you have any problem on your mic, you can also put your questions on the chat window. No questions for anyone? For that, I would like to show to you very important slides. Okay, and let me take an help of a pen. So let us try to look into this. Okay, why this has gone? Fine. Just a second. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So whatever you see here is the reporting tool on top of SAP HANA. Okay, so this is on top of SAP HANA. But let us not look into the left side diagram for this moment. Whatever you see here is on top of traditional database. The reporting application, they are using some SAP front-end application, and that is on top of traditional database. Okay, so for this moment, for this slide and for the next 2 slides, let us not look into the left side diagram, which is this one. Let us not look into this. That is on top of SAP HANA, but now we are trying to understand you have so many technologies, so why SAP HANA? For that, let us go into this. So what happened is this customer, they are trying to understand, they are trying to issue this transaction code VA01. Basically, they would like to understand data at the each order line level of the customer, which is going to be if it is too technical, they want to look into the data in a more detailed manner. They would like to analyze the data in a detailed manner. So they would like to have a very detailed report. Order line number, ordered item number is going to be the lowest level basically. So for each customer, they would like to see, for each customer, for each product, they would like to understand this data. And what happened is, after running this for 14 minutes, the situation was they were able to get this error called short dump. They were able to get this error called short dump. After waiting for 14 minutes, they didn't still get the entire data. Let's move to the another report, which is PO goods movement, procurement, product and procurement movement analysis. And again, when you run this transaction code in this SAP front-end system, after waiting for 8 minutes, again, it was a short dump, which is a partial results. And one more report, which is logistic invoice analysis. They were running this transaction code and it was not even clear. They didn't get the full result. So this is just an example, but this is all example on SAP systems running on top of traditional databases. So, but in the actual real world, in even non-SAP world, you will have this business case always. You might not be able to analyze your report on top of large volumes of data. If you do so, either you have to wait for a long amount of time. Even if you wait for a long amount of time, you might not get the complete result. So before SAP HANA and all, before SAP HANA came into picture, okay, this is something happened because me as an architect, I have also given the solution before SAP HANA. Okay, so before SAP HANA came into picture, what would happen is, what we would try to do is, say for example, you would like to do an historical analysis of last 10 years with current data, and all this data is on top of a traditional database. It can be any database, right? So now on your reporting tool, you are basically trying to, you have built a report that is going to take this complete set of data. And most of the time the user has to wait for so much of time, which they are not supposed to. They might need to wait for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever time, or even sometimes they wait, they get this famous error, disk failure error, which is CRC disk failure error, or timeout. Most of the business users will be aware of this too, because that's what they used to face for. Okay, so they used to come back to IT, and only solution that we add is like we will try to increase the infrastructure, network speed, and try to build some performance techniques, try to make sure all our indexes are perfectly fine-tuned, build aggregate tables, summary tables, whatever workarounds we used to do is like infrastructure upgrade, network speed, try to see if at all if you can increase the network speed from one configuration to another configuration, make sure all your DB level things, DB structures are all properly tuned, indexes, statistics, partitioning, whatever it is. And then what else you would do? Aggregate tables. Say for example, your user is looking only, this report is an yearly analysis report, which means this report, whatever your user is going to see, only year-wise data, 2010, 2011, 2012. So there's no point reading from a table that contains daily level of data, right? So maybe build aggregate summarized tables. Still, there might be problems. So what we would do is try to split your report by more filters. All this were actual issues. Maybe I'm not sure how many people are here or working for a long amount of time in the IT field, but all this were all the issues that we used to have normally. Okay, maybe then split your report basically with so many filters. Say, run your report 2 to 3 times for 3 years. So I have report 1, run it for 3 years. So which means running the report multiple times. Report 2, same report, report instance 1, report instance 2, report instance 3, because you are not able to run it for all the data at the same time, something like this. 4 years, whatever it is. Okay, so running the same report multiple times for different years, all this. Okay, but still all this were, I can't say it was okay. They were forced to live with the workarounds. That's it. Okay, and there were certain business cases as well. Real-time reporting. Assume you are a manager on your retail shop. You are a manager and you're working in a retail shop, and now you would like to give an on-the-spot promotion for your shop. Understand the statement clearly. You're working on a retail shop and you're a manager and you would like to give an on-the-spot promotion to increase the sales. So you can't just go ahead and give an on-the-spot promotion without doing any analysis. You would really like to look your product movement across the times, across the various stores, and across all the various time periods, across various kind of criteria. You would really like to do some kind of, you might need to run a report that gives you a detailed data from all these angles. Okay, but for that you need to run a report to understand all this so that you can give an on-the-spot promotion. And if you're going to run your report now, you would need the result now, maybe within a minute or within 30 seconds. Because what we are speaking is real-time analytics, real-time reporting. It would be absolutely different if I'm going to get my report results after 30 minutes. If I'm going to run my report now and if I'm going to get my results after 30 minutes, the situation might be altogether different. So I'm looking into data which is 30 minutes before. Maybe some predictions or some analysis might be wrong, right? So real-time analytics is you run the report now and you get the data now. You can wait for 30 seconds or 1 minute, that is okay. Waiting for 30 minutes is not acceptable, right? But to do this kind of things, as I told you, as I showed you, this kind of things, it was not possible. You didn't get your data. You waited 8 minutes, but it is short term. You waited 14 minutes, again it is no use, right? So which clearly told that to IT people that you need a new solution. You need a new solution. Okay. Step number 2. If you need that, but you need to understand what is the drawback here. What is the challenge here? Why it is not possible? Why you have this performance issue? End of the day, performance issue, right? Why do you have, after doing all these things, still why do you have this performance issue? Why do you have this performance issue? Okay, so this is what I was all telling to you. Information explosion. What is that? Information explosion. Day to day, the data is getting increased in your company database. The data is getting bigger and bigger, and the speed, the velocity at which the data is getting is also bigger, and the data consumed is also getting more and more, and the kind of data, different kinds of data are also getting more and more. Structured, unstructured, semi-structured, all this. You got various kinds of business cases now. This is current reality. You would need to make some real-time decisions, but you were not able to. And clearly, there was not an IT solution. If you see here, IT was not able to deliver because I would need immediate answer to any question, real-time analytics. I would need current and complete information. I really don't want to run a report 5 times to get my results. I just need to run one time, complete information. I also need a cost-effective way of managing all this. Okay. So these were all the challenges. These were all the challenges. So now let us try to understand the drawback. Okay, why the existing solutions were not able to address this business cases. All those existing solutions, say they will be having an application, whatever reporting application or business application, whatever it is, they'll be having an application server, and this application server will be connected back to the database. So this application, if it is a front-end application, this is a place where you do all your transactions. You go to a banking application, you open your online banking, internet online banking, you deposit $1,000, not deposit, you transfer $1,000 from your account to another account in your online banking. So that you do in the online internet banking, right? So that is a front-end application where all the transactions are captured, are done. But end of the day, where it is stored, all this data, all these transactions, whatever, all these activities are finally stored in the database, right? So if you take not just SAP HANA or not this technology, if you take any technology anywhere in the world, all the actual data will be stored in the backend, and most probably it should be a database. Okay, and all this database was a traditional database, and now is the point. In existing scenarios, existing is not now, before SAP HANA came into picture. Before SAP HANA came into picture, what happened is this database was stored in HDD, hard disk. This entire database was stored in hard disk drive, and this hard disk drive was working based on a mechanical operation. This hard disk drive works on a mechanical operation. Sometimes you will see when you buy a computer, you will see the hard disk configuration is 5,400 RPM, rotations per minute, 11,200 RPM, rotations per minute. What it means? In a minute, this hard disk will rotate this many times. That was the catch. So this hard disk drive was working based on a mechanical operation. So it used to spin, and at a given point in time, what happens is, because it's a mechanical operation, when you really take that much large volume of data and whatever it is, it gets stuck somewhere, and finally it gives you this error, CRC, disk failure error. Because it got stuck somewhere, it's not able to spin further. CRC, disk failure error. Or what happens is, it really spins for so much long time, because again it is a mechanical operation. This hard disk drives work based on a mechanical operation. They give you this timeout issue. So this was the catch. This was the issue. Then what happened? How to resolve this? The only way to resolve this is to store this database in a different storage medium. So then they gave a thought that, why should I not save this database into a storage medium which operates electronic media, based on electronic media, which does not have this mechanical operation? Why should I not store this database on a storage media which does not have this mechanical operation? So then they thought, why can't I store this entire database on RAM, random access memory, your main memory? Everybody might be aware of this point, that your main memory, random access memory, works at lightning speed. Because they don't have this mechanical operation. So only one thing they did is, if that is the issue, let us place our entire database in our main memory itself. There were two immediate benefits. One is, the entire database is stored in main memory, and your main memory works on lightning speed, because of that, the performance has increased to a greater extent. The report that was running 30 minutes came back in 30 seconds. The second benefit, the most important challenge in any IT infrastructure is I/O, input output, the transfer between the disk and the main memory. Because now the entire database itself is stored in main memory, this I/O is also much reduced. I would not say that it is completely gone. It will be much reduced. It is much reduced. This, which means at least I can fairly say that you will not have disk I/O bottleneck. You will not have that disk I/O bottleneck. So immediate two benefits. You store the entire database in a storage medium that works on lightning speed, which is your main memory. Because now you store the database itself, there is no kind of I/O activity happening between the disk and main memory so often. Okay, I'm just pausing here for 15 seconds and let me know if you have any questions or not. I do expect a kind of question here. I do expect a kind of question here. All understand that your main memory is volatile memory. What is the meaning of volatile? If you switch off the power supply, whatever is there in your main memory will be erased. So now you keep your entire database in main memory, and now you are on the business live hours, morning 11 a.m. You are doing a business transaction. A customer has deposited $10,000. Something happens to your server, the power supply goes off. Will you go and say back to the customer that no, you did not deposit $10,000? Then that's it. Your business is going to go somewhere else, right? So there should be a mechanism where this database content in your main memory is taken back up to a permanent storage area, and that is persistence layer. At frequent intervals, all the data in your main memory is taken a permanent backup to a permanent storage area. And in SAP HANA, even this is not a normal hard disk. Even this, you use flash drives, solid state drives, SSDs, to store your data permanently. So at every frequent intervals, the data in the main memory is taken back up to the permanent storage medium. So the data in your flash drive or SSDs will not erase. So if at all the power is gone or whatever it is, you can take a backup from this to your main memory again while startup process. And worst case worst, you can also use hard disk drive for permanent backup. It is not that you cannot use, because anyways it is just for storing your backup and it is not actually involved in any of your reporting purposes, but still you can use HDD as well to store the data permanently. But the point is, you're storing the database in main memory when you have the HANA server up and running. So, can I quickly check with everyone? Did you all understand why do we need SAP HANA? What was done in SAP HANA to resolve it? Okay. What was done in SAP HANA to resolve it? Now, I don't see much interaction, so feel free to post your questions back. So if you understand, say you're good. If you don't understand, say you don't understand, like you want more clarification on that. So can you get a quick response from all of you that Are you all clear? Alok as a question. Okay, let me just unmute Alok. Yes, Alok. Platform. Understand this very clearly. This is an in-memory platform. Let me go back to this. Let me come to this diagram. Hope you recall this sheet number 1. I told you in-memory database. We told that in SAP HANA we keep the entire database in main memory. What happened is in SP5 version, what SAP did is in SP5 version, they also included application server. What is this? Application server, application web server embedded within SAP HANA. Because of this, what happened is now SAP HANA, what is a platform? You should have an application server, you should have a database server. That's where somewhere I have given you that diagram, right? So not sure where did I give. So what is generally a platform? You should have an application server to do all your front-end activities, and you should have a database server connected to it, backend. That is a platform. Till SP4 version, SAP HANA is an IMDB, in-memory database. But in SP5, they did this. They embedded the application and web server, which means now you can create your own web-based applications on top of SAP HANA without the help of any external application servers. You can create your own web-based applications. So this is important. They might try to test you in the interview. Is that an IMDB or is that a platform? If you say platform, then they might ask you how and why. Okay, so it is an hardware plus software solution provided by SAP, which is an in-memory platform that has the entire database, that has, oh my god, what is that? That has the entire database within main memory. Assume this entire box is your main memory. Assume this entire box is your main memory. This is your main memory. So it contains the entire database within your main memory, and it is not just the entire database, it also contains the data processing services, the services that are required to execute your tasks on the database. So what is the use of just having the database? If you have a database, then you should have also additional services to execute that query, to return back the results to the requesting agents, so whatever it is. So you need to have services. So the database services within main memory. So which has the entire database, data processing capabilities, and application server embedded within main memory. So now with SAP HANA, you can do all the database related functionalities, because the entire database and database processing capabilities are database and DPS, which is data processing capabilities, data processing services, are all within main memory. And now because from SP5 version you also got application server embedded, you can also create your web-based applications within main memory. The beautiful point where SAP HANA still extends further is it also provides, yes, it is called as an appliance because of hardware plus software. It's called an appliance because it's an hardware plus software. Let me complete this point and then I'll come back to the point when you go for an SAP HANA implementation, what would be step 1? That will help you to understand that point. Okay, but now coming to the beautiful point here, it also provides, have a note here, statistical algorithms. It also comes, the SAP HANA box also comes with embedded built-in statistical algorithms to do all your predictive analytics, business analytics, text analytics, spatial analytics. Spatial is location analytics. If somebody is not aware what is spatial, like Google Analytics, whatever it is, Google Maps Analytics. Spatial is location analytics. For certain companies, these are too important. Graph analytics, all this. Sorry. Graph is something it's a graph engine that, yeah, you can also put that. You can also put that. That is from SP9. You can also put that. All in a single box. So it comes with embedded libraries to support all your analytics. And again, somebody can ask me, it's not a big deal. You already have a fantastic tools in market. You got language, you got SAS, which has Enterprise Miner, which is a graphical user interface to which is one of the leading market provider for your analytics. It also has this scripting version, which is less in cost as well, where it is. Anyways, whatever is you think SAS is one of the leading market provider for your analytics that has all the statistical algorithms. Statistical, yeah, which contains all the statistical algorithms. If you speak on the open source, you got language R. This is open source. The only risk is open source. Basically, they use R for all data scientists. Basically, use R because if you go for an open source, there is nothing for you to pay. But on the other side, if there is something, you take an algorithm, and if it is not working as per the expectation, you can't raise any case with anyone because that is open source. That is the built-in risk that comes with any open source. But if you see any organization now, data scientist kind of roles where they just try to do some analysis, explore and do all the predictions, whatever it is, are some of the great thing that is also coming up. So what's the big deal? The big deal here is you got these algorithms, R algorithms now available within SAP HANA itself. When I say embedded, which means there is no need for you to go and again do and set up or integration with all these things. There is an difference between embedded and integration. Embedded, no setup is required. It is already within SAP HANA. If I say integration, which means you need to set up these two systems and then you need to establish the configurations to make up the connections. You need to establish the connections between these two systems, which means a setup is required. But if it is embedded, nothing is there. It's already within the box. You just need to go and use it. Right? So coming back, all your analytics. Still it is not complete. Still it is not complete. That is what SAP HANA is. Right? So you got your application server so that you can build your own, what is that? Web-based applications. And you got different kind of business cases. One is transactional business system, OLTP, systems that are used for the business to run their day-to-day business activities. You got OLAP systems. Anyways, all this we will see in our course module. But just to give you an highlight, OLAP system, which is used to do analysis, business intelligence based on current and historical data. Latest trend is business or predictive analytics to apply statistical algorithms and to discover patterns. So you got different kinds of business. So the fantastic point in SAP HANA is you can use the same database for both business, OLTP and OLAP. Of course, for all the analytics also you can use it. The reason why I'm telling this is OLTP and OLAP systems have different models, different structures. But with SAP HANA, I can use the same column store tables for both businesses. Okay, so having this in picture, oops, I don't have the definition slide here. That's okay. Let me go here. Let me go here and pull out that just to give you that alone. Yeah, so this is what the final definition of SAP HANA is. SAP HANA is an hardware plus software solution which is an in-memory platform that combines database processing capabilities and application platform capabilities in memory. The platform, which platform? The SAP HANA platform provides libraries. What libraries? Statistical libraries for doing what? All this kind of analytics. Predictive, planning, text, processing, spatial and business analytics. Okay, so that is where SAP HANA is all about. That is where SAP HANA is all about. So if you are going to say this kind of definition in your interview, I'm pretty much sure the interviewer will be impressed. Okay. That is the last part of our agenda for today. And I believe the course timings is going to be, it's on Saturday and Sunday. And I would need to convert my Singapore time or Indian time to your US time. Not sure that Anwar might be telling back to you. Anwar should be telling to you the exact CST time, but putting it in Indian time, that's going to be Indian time is 5 p.m. IST, which means obviously it's going to be in US, it's going to be morning time, but I'm not sure which particular CST or PST or whatever, what is the time guideline which you're going to take. I'm not too sure. Anwar should be able to guide you on that, but it's going to be on Saturday and Sunday. This is specifically designed in a way it should help both US and UK candidates. So it's Indian time 5 p.m. evening IST, that is for Indian time. So in US, obviously it should be on the morning. Your Saturday and Sunday morning time will be the course. And the course is for around 30 hours is the guideline. It should go to 32 as well. Maybe it should go to 32, 33. And what else? I think I'm good. I'm done with all whatever I wanted to deliver today. And tomorrow there will be session 1 as well. Session 1 is going to start tomorrow. Session 1 is going to start tomorrow. That is going to be on 22nd February. It's going to be session 1, and you will be also, what you'll be getting end of the day is you'll be also getting server access to practice and work all the stuffs. Practice and work all the stuffs. You'll be getting, from the materials perspective, you will get HA100 and HA300, which is a certification materials. You might also get one more case study document, and you might get best practices, which is specifically I have composed, which is off, and you'll be getting a very detailed IQ questions. As I told you, it's already 250 plus by now with answers. And what else? Of course, the session notes, whatever session notes and PPTs should be all made available. That's it from my side, and open for Q&A again.